Hey everybody, welcome to Recon 2016. I am here with the president of the Ocala Garrison, Bryan Stroup. Bryan, thank you so much for coming and joining us at the Dice Tower.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Why don't you tell us a little bit about the Garrison and what you guys do?
Alrighty. We're a group that back in the mid-90s, we got together informally, played on Friday nights or Saturday nights at one of each other's houses, and we decided, you know what, let's do stuff at the convention scene around. That was back when Jacksonville had a small convention scene like JaxCon. Now it's at Rapier. Tampa had a big convention scene, the skirmishes. Ocala had nothing. Gainesville had one little con. It was a student-run con. And Orlando, we just didn't know much about it. Orlando was still very Disney, and the community, when the Navy base closed, kind of went away. What we wanted to do was start putting on what we like to run, show everybody what we do, and get people excited about it because there's some great things out there. A friend of ours who was a dealer at the time, he was one of the founders of HMGS, which is Historical Miniatures Gaming Society.
Which actually, I believe, runs this, or is that the South version of it?
The South chapter runs, it's a part of overall HMGS.
Okay.
And they started this convention. Actually, I helped start that convention in Tampa, and then they moved it here whenever I moved on. One of the guys there, he called us that Garrison up in Ocala. And okay, actually, that kind of has a ring to it. Ocala Garrison sounded good. And next thing I know, I got some friends in Gainesville. I was like, man, we want to be the Gainesville Garrison. All right. And Jacksonville Garrison's there. And they're still a big group and strong. The Gainesville guys, when we were all college students, when you get out of college, you move away. It happens. Still a good gaming crowd up there. And that's how we got together, and we've all grown together. Some of us worked at stores together. We've known each other for 20 years. And we get back together, and we're now living, and everybody's got kids, jobs. And we game together still, and there's a good 10, 12 of us now on a regular basis every Friday or Saturday night.
How many belong to the Garrison?
Right now, I would say we have 10 regular members.
10 regular members.
We had.
I was a member at one time. I still am a member. The problem is, guess what? I'm too busy with you guys to actually go spend time with them. Right,
and we've had members move away. They're in Atlanta or Miami, but we still game with them. We meet them in Recon. We game. We meet them at Rapier. We game.
Now, I want to bring up a point because you said that when when some of the bases moved away, that you lost a lot of gamers. Were there a real lot of gamers that were here with the more military bases in here?
Specifically, the naval base near Enterprise 1701, which was actually, I think, the actual address, but the game store was called that. That was a huge game store in Orlando. We would drive from Ocala to come just to that game store.
Right.
When the Navy base closed, they lost a majority of their customers, and they decided it wasn't a viable business anymore. It became a sci-fi shop, which worked for a little while, and they just gave up.
Okay.
And that happens a lot. A lot of the miniature wargaming does come from a lot of the military bases. You'll see that. But the board gamers have decided that, hey, 3D counters, those are awesome.
Right.
And now you notice a lot of the board games are coming out with good miniatures in the game. Thinking Blood Rage.
Blood Rage, cool mini or not, are trying to up and actually trying to compete with the Games Workshop, which is very hard to do.
But the quality has come so far in the board games, both in the quality of the board game, the rules development, the ideology of mixing what the European style game is with the track around the outside of the board as you're progressing through the game, to some of the detail some of the old school American games have, like the old SPI games.
Right. Now, one of the things I want to ask is if you notice, this is a very kind of closed off community. It seems like it's older. What are you guys trying to do to bring some of the younger kids, or those kids that are playing and discovering board games now, and not sitting there twiddling their thumbs?
Right. Well, all right. That's probably one of the bigger things. When I was growing up, Atari was the very first thing that came out, right after Pong. Okay, I'm not that old, but Pong was a big deal. But when Atari came out, you started having a joystick and controllers. It's a lot easier to set that up and play than it is to go paint some miniatures and put on a game. I can understand why that's very attractive for the younger generation. It does get old, and for me, I've been around long enough now that I've done both, and I think we lost a lot of our younger generation to playing the computer games because it's easier. We're take the easiest path every time. We are who we are. Right. But we don't do a good job. If you think about it, you are reaching out on YouTube, Facebook, Dice Tower channel, everywhere you go. You're trying to become more tech-based and reach people.
Right.
We're horrible at it. Without a doubt, we're horrible at it. And some of us are techno folks. I'm myself in an IT industry. I'm a regular job, so yeah, I understand. But even then, I still don't want to do it.
Right.
And it's just something we have to get over. If we're going to reach the crowd and push things, do what Beasts of War is doing, do what Mini War Game is doing, and make everybody excited, want to go get that game.
Right.
Play. And we're not very good at that, let's just be honest.
Do you think it's a bit of closed-mindedness where, it's very personal? It seems like the older war gamer takes their games very personal, and if you're new to it, they kind of almost shut you off in a way.
To a point, but a lot of that has to do with just personality of the person.
Right.
There are some people who will welcome you. You come play a game in our place, we're going to welcome you with open arms. We're going to give you all amounts of crud. We expect you to give us a little bit back.
Right.
And whatever happens, we better be having some fun. And I think we miss a lot of that in some of the older generation, and it hasn't translated down. Yes, their kids may play, but they play the same thing Dad played. I want to see people get excited about a passion or what you want. It may be historical period. It may be sci-fi fantasy. It doesn't matter to me. It's a game. Have a good time. Play a game.
What's some of your favorite games right now?
Well, let me give you a little bit more than that, because it's kind of been an evolution for me. I started off back in the days when we had D&D was young. Okay, I remember D&D being a black and white ad in the back of the magazine. Games Workshop was a little black and white ad next to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in the back of a Dragon magazine.
Right.
And I was into the games that my teacher was into. The teacher saw, I play Siegfried. I helped write the rules. And it's a very detailed game, exact, wonderful, good game. However, it's not a fun game. It's more of a simulation.
Right.
If you know the rules and you play with a group that all knows the rules, it's a fun game. But that's hard. So I went from those kind of detail-oriented things to, I want to be able to finish a game in a couple hours and have fun. So you have to give up something in that detail, right? And I probably went too far in that direction, too abstract. And now I'm starting to want a little bit more. But now I'm older, I get. I got a daughter who's in high school, and I want to get back to a little more detail again. So I'm trying to find that balance. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of the board games that have come out recently, especially like Blood Rage, they translate to being a tabletop game just fine too.
Oh, exactly.
And I am more impressed with those games. I mean, I like bolt action. I like Beyond the Gate Cemeteries, which is a more detailed version of bolt action. Quite honestly, I wish bolt action would be that much more detailed. I like playing some of the big historical games. Like I run 7 Years' War. That's a very specific period in history. Lots of lace, tricorns, beautiful Austrian Habsburg Empire. I mean, it's a lot of beautiful pageantry, and something appealed to me. And as far as all my historical periods, that's the one I prefer. But it's also a little more detail-oriented and very regimented, so you lose some of that flexibility of flavor. Saga's a great game. Saga allows you to kind of tailor your own army the way you want it.
Saga's more of an Ancients game?
Yeah, it's more of a medieval Normans, Saxons, Vikings, Old Russians, and you play with a small war band, and that's a very easy size army to swallow as of getting into a game. I have a 7 Years' War collection, may have 3,000 figures. That's not for the faint of heart. But you can get a war band and get started. You can build your bolt-action American force for World War II in the Normandy campaign, and you've got enough play right there, and you can go find a lot of players now. They'll play it, and you can finish a game in 2 hours.
What do you guys think of Kickstarter? Are you guys fans of Kickstarter?
It's kind of hit or miss. Some Kickstarters, like for example, I support certain groups that I believe in, and I'll be part of the Kickstarter, regardless if I get product or not. I've been very lucky that I always get fulfilled. However, there were some that I was leery of. I won't mention it, but I will say it has certain aliens versus predator type thing to it, and
You
I'm
mean,
glad I
mean, you mean something that a lot of people still haven't gotten yet, but
Yes.
I was able to get at retail?
Exactly. You can get it at retail, but people aren't getting their orders fulfilled. I mean, yes, there's going to be some that do that.
And you know the worst thing about that game is it's actually a very good game.
Right. But they're ruining themselves as a company. So regardless of the game can't get past what they're doing to themselves as a brand.
So saying that, you know, we seem to be teetering on a very, very edge. You know, I always take this point, and I always bring this out, that if you remember, comic books were the greatest thing that ever happened. Okay,
Still
but
are.
all of a sudden, hit a certain point, and then
Yes.
it fell out of them. You know, even video games, even though it's a billion-dollar industry,
It's not as big as it was.
it's not as big as it was, and there's not that hype behind it, and it's just more of the same old thing. Will we run into that danger? And we're kind of like in a dangerous spot, especially wargaming was the biggest thing in the 60s, 70s,
Right.
even up into the 80s to some point. Okay, and now all of a sudden, you know, board gaming has made that transition, and it started to come to a point. Do we run into that type of danger where we kind of lose out, that we'll lose out on the board game community? I mean, where eventually the rug's going to come out from underneath us.
I don't believe so. I go to Gen Con every year, although I have to miss it this year. I've been for the past 5. That thing has grown tremendously. You know, there'll be 200,000 people through there for that whole weekend. And it just keeps growing. They've outgrown the second largest convention space in the whole U.S.
Right.
And it's all really the board game that's done it. Fantasy Flight Games, ILO, Mayfair Games. These companies have really just taken it to the next level. The communities have grown. They made it a very social game. You have family events. I mean, Catan is everything. All kinds. You have Catan in a room like this.
Right.
The whole table is the ground. They set up giant 6-foot tiles. You also have the same size of entire tables filled with games people playing. I don't think it's really dying. I think that it's changed to become social. Historical miniature gaming, sci-fi gaming to a certain point, not really social. You have a small group that likes a certain thing, you stay together, and you need more.
But you need to open that up, or else it's
game
going to die
stores
out.
are dying out.
Yeah, game stores are
And
dying
that's
out.
because of online sales. Online sales are good. They're good for the customer. They're good if you're one of the first ones to get out there. You know, certain on-site sites have a great frontline online presence. But it killed the brick and mortar stores because it costs a lot more money to have a brick and mortar store and try to do this than it does to just push it online.
Right.
The brick and mortar store was where a lot of social interaction happened. Now everybody's having to do it at home. And when you're doing it at home, sometimes it's easier to play a computer game because you can play an MMORPG, you know, like a Warcraft type game, and you can interact with each other. And that's fine. That's maybe all they want. Some people don't like to interact. You know, there's a lot of different personalities in the world.
No, yeah. And, you know, that's why they make games where you can play by yourself, too.
Exactly.
So where can we find you?
We are in Ocala Garrison and www.ocalagarrison.org. I will pass some information to Rob to put onto the comments area for his feed.
Okay.
And we game pretty much on weekends, almost every weekend. We've been really good about it, although we may take a break after the convention here. But probably not. We all like the game. Some of us may just get together and play informally. We rotate houses right now. Periodically, we will reserve space at the public library, and on a Saturday, have it the whole day, and invite people to come in and play and look and see what we do. See what interests you.
And it's not just war games. I mean, you guys
Board
play
games. We want to do a role-playing game. Role-playing game takes a level of commitment to do it really well, and we're all got day jobs. A lot of miniature games. We play too many miniature games, to be honest, but that's not a bad thing. You're a gamer. You have too much. If you don't have a pile of lead that's unpainted, you really aren't a gamer. So we want more. But we'd love to have people come visit us. We can introduce you to something. You can introduce us to something. And check it out. And we can also hook you up with different players around. I know a lot of people in Jacksonville, Gainesville, Pensacola, Tallahassee. We're learning more people in Orlando. And Rob can always help us out with people in Orlando.
Oh, yeah.
We can always find players and hook you up with someone. And you may or may not like them. That's fine. That's all about personalities. But at least we can get you in the door, and if you want to get a game, we'll help you find one.
All right. Can people contact you personally, or can they do that through the site?
You can do it through the site. I will respond to you personally. and after we start, conversation and so forth, I do it through the site because
Right.
you get spam email, and it may just end up going to spam folder. I'm sorry. So send me an email through the site, and I will get back with you. I promise.
All right. Hey, I want to thank you as always, and thanks for spending some time and talking to everybody out there. And it's just a game.
Yeah,
that's what we do.
Go play a game. Have some fun. Bring your kids into it, please. Thank you.
All right, everybody. We'll see you, and look for the next video.